अनित्यदृश्येषु विविच्य नित्यं तस्मिन् समाधत्त इह स्मलीलया विवेकवैराग्य विशुद्धचित्तम् योऽसौ विवेकी तमहं नमामि। विवेकजानन्द निमग्नचित्तम् विवेकदानैक विनोदशीलम् विवेकभासा कमनीयकान्तम् विवेकिनं तं सततं नमामि।
Recording in progress.
तं देशिकेन्द्रं परमं पवित्रं विश्वस्य पालं मधुरं यतीन्द्रं हिताय नृणां नरमूर्तिमन्तम् विवेकानन्दम् अहं नमामि। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चिदसुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने So today we are here to celebrate Swami Vivekananda's birth anniversary. The actual tithi is on 21st of January, that's on Tuesday. But as this is the nearest weekend, so we are celebrating it today on the 19th. And as you have already seen that we have already notified you all that the topic which we have kept today for discussing on the life and the teachings of Swami Vivekananda is Swami Vivekananda redefining the monastic ideals. So that's the topic which we have chosen today for the discussion. So now Swami Vivekananda made a lot of contribution. He made a tremendous contribution in many fields. But that which will go down the history as perhaps his greatest contribution is the new order of monks, the Ramakrishna order which he has formed. It's very unique. Nowadays, all the monastic organizations which we will find are following the same methodology as has been devised by Swami Vivekananda. It's a revolutionary thing. Why we are saying it's revolutionary? Even after passing away of Swami Vivekananda, when we were forming the centers, when the Ramakrishna order was forming the centers in various parts of India as well as abroad, on the lines of the ideology which Swami Vivekananda has set before us, following the guidelines and the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, it was something unique, something revolutionary. It's not that it was new, it was in our scriptures, but somehow we forgot those ideals. That the two pillars, which we will come to the discussion in bit more details, that one is the harmony of religion, which we find has been taught and demonstrated by Sri Ramakrishna through his life and teachings. He was the living parliament of religion. His life is a living parliament of religion. And that's what is one of the pillars of the Ramakrishna order, the harmony of religions. Accepting all religions as true. Nowadays, everywhere we hear of religious tolerance. We will find Swami Vivekananda in the Parliament of Religion. He said a very interesting thing, that we not merely tolerate other religion. With the idea of toleration, the idea is I am superior, you are inferior, your ideas are not as refined as mine, but I tolerate you. Somehow the sense of superiority is there when I say I tolerate. Swami Vivekananda, with the full force in the Parliament of Religion, what he told, we don't believe in toleration of others' religion. What we believe in? We believe in acceptance. We accept all the religions as true. This acceptance, it is not just mere toleration. Because Ramakrishna through his life has demonstrated that through all the paths we can reach the ultimate goal. Nowadays a lot of difficulties are there. This branding of religion goes on everywhere. As we find that because of the orthodox practices, we can never think of preaching Swamiji or even worshipping some other gods in church or in some other place of religion. In Hinduism also we find they have started branding Hinduism that way. As others don't worship our God, we are not supposed to worship others' God too. And this time, this year we have found that in India, unfortunately in one of our centers, following the guidelines of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, we do proudly celebrate Christmas Eve. And in one of the centers, it is the so-called the Hindu fundamentalist. They entered and started just opposing that. They were constantly shouting, you cannot do that. Do the others pray my God? Why should you pray others' God? This reminds me of a nice story in our Hindu tradition, that a monk was trying to rescue one scorpion which has fallen on the river. It has fallen on the river, it was struggling to come out of it, and now the sadhu, the monk, he put his hand on the river to help the scorpion to come out. The moment he keeps his hand, the scorpion stings him. Because of the pain, he removes his hand. Again he puts his hand. Repeatedly he was doing that and he was getting the sting. Because of the sting he couldn't bring it out because of the terrible pain. But again he reminded that I have to save him. He was putting his hand again and again. Some passerby thought he's a fool. He thought, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the sadhu's reply was wonderful, that it is stinging you, it is harming you, and still you are trying to save it. And then very nicely that Swami told, Tera kaam tu kare, mera dharam kahe chode. That the scorpion's nature is to bite. But that doesn't mean I should change my nature because of that. So what the world is doing, that's not our intention, that's not the thing that will decide what I do. If others are yet to accept that all religions are true, that doesn't stop me to accept others. It doesn't stop me. I have, because we are following the path which has been shown by our founder. It's not only a matter of belief. Through his life, he has realized the truth. It is not just, as we have said, it's not a matter of belief. Through his life, through his practice, he himself became the parliament of religion to realize the fact that yes, through each and every path, God can be realized. And that is one of the pillars of the Ramakrishna tradition. We do face a lot of problem in practicing that, but we are firm in that. Nothing can swerve us from that. That is one of the uniqueness. The other uniqueness has much more pervasive nature, is of much more pervasive. What's that? Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva. Serving the God in man. Now, not only in man, in all beings. So it is loosely translated as in man. But actually Jiva means all beings. In all beings, serve God. See the God in each and every being. It is our scriptures that says that the God is permeating the entire creation Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma gridha kasya siddhanam. The first mantra of the Isha Upanishad starts with that idea that the Lord, you have to pervade the entire creation by the Lord, because He alone is the only existence which is finding manifestation as the entire universe. So if that be so, then God is there in each and every being, and it has to be practiced through our life. And that Sri Ramakrishna has shown it through his life. And that's what Swami Vivekananda stressed is the dharma, religion of this age. You may say, what's new? Because it has become so common now, but you will forget, it's just 100 years. When Swami Vivekananda started this, in Kankhal we have a hospital. And that time, Swamis going out, tendering, looking after the sick was something unusual. The sadhus are supposed to meditate. Now he is going out to take care of the sick, other sadhus. When two sadhus are together, if one gets sick, the other will say, oh, to stay with him is maya. It is just a bondage, and they is to leave him. Such heartless, the so-called Vedanta's practice became, that everything is maya, so even the one who is suffering, my co-monastic brother who is suffering, to take care of him will create emotional bondage, which after all is a delusion, so I should leave him. Seeing such, degradation of the religion, wrong interpretation of the religion, Swamiji told such sadhus should be kicked out of meditation. They should be kicked out of meditation and should be forced to do some seva. What a tremendous waste of human resource. Just seeing the sadhus in the name of sattva, in the name of meditation, they don't meditate. He himself witnessed that in the winter, under the blanket, it appeared that he is meditating from a distance. When he went near, he could hear that actually he was snoring. He's snoring. In the name of religion, he is leading a life of tamas. He used to say that the shortest way to tamas is the feigning of sattva. We feign that we are sattvic, and it is the shortest way to tamas. It is the shortest route. Immediately we become lethargic. Why don't you use your human resource for the service of the humanity? Selflessly you do that. That takes you to the realization. When we were practicing that in Kankhal, the hospital we started, in those days it was something very uncommon, seeing the sadhus taking care of the sick, cleaning them, taking them to the hospital, giving them medication was something unusual. And it is the work of the cleaners. The cleaners do all those work, the cleaning the dirt, and they used to get this totally defouled because no one is going to take care of them. So they will clean them nicely. So you say this is the work of the cleaners. This is the work of the so-called the bhangis, in Hindi they call the sweepers. So they branded the Ramakrishna Mission sadhus as bhangi sadhu. In the history it is there. All used to, in the beginning, 100 years back when the Ramakrishna Mission was formed, the so-called traditional sadhus used to consider as low caste sadhu, which they shouldn't be touched, they shouldn't be invited. They were called bhangi sadhus. But we were determined, the Ramakrishna order was determined that this is the ideal placed before us by Swami Vivekananda. We continue. Silently we continue. Not by simply making noise in the social media. What we believe, that we practice. And that's how we were doing. And you know how the things change? In one of the bhandaras, there are bhandaras. Bhandara means where all the sadhus are invited. Someone gives a feast to all the monks. So all the monks were invited for such a feast, for such a bhandara. The Ramakrishna Mission monks were not invited. Now one very reputed Swami, Dhanaraj Giri, he was very much respected in the sadhu samaj, in the monks, in the traditional sadhus, all the congregations, he was highly venerated. Now this Dhanaraj Giri, he somehow had a very soft corner for these Ramakrishna Mission sadhus. He saw that the Ramakrishna Mission sadhus are not there. So he already sat for having his food, that feast for the sadhus, for his food, he already sat in the pangat. He suddenly asked, where are the Ramakrishna Mission sadhus? So someone told they haven't been invited. They are the Bhangi sadhus. And Dhanaraj Giri immediately told such a renowned sadhu that unless the sadhus come, I won't eat. You have to invite them. The invitation went to them. They were humble enough, though they were not respected. But the moment the invitation came from the Sadhu Samaj, they came. The two Swamis, Sunishthananda and Kalyanananda ji, they were the two Swamis there. He made them sit by his two sides, such a venerated sadhu. And then he told the Swamis, what he told a very nice thing. जब तुम बच्चे थे, तुम्हारा माँ जब तुमको साफ करता था, तुम क्या माँ को भांगी बोलते थे? Did you call your mother the bhangi? She used to clean. They're doing that work, doing the mother's work. And that's how gradually this organization got established. It's a work, it's a divine work. Gradually it got that establishment. And now you will find not a single organization can think of running the organization without these two things. They have to say, we accept all other religions as true. Even if we don't accept, we at least tolerate them. We have to say, and they have to do some service. It's very interesting. Nowadays in Kumbh Mela, you hear of these akharas. These swamis are so venerated, these Naga sadhus. Now these Naga sadhus have a very long history. They are the fighters, the warriors. They saved the Hinduism from foreign onslaughts. They were the warrior monks. But everywhere there is degradation. The human nature is such, everything can get degraded. These warrior monks, what happened much later? Previously, they did great job of saving the Sadhu Samaj from this foreign onslaught. But later, the zamindars, when they were fighting, they used to hire them. They used to say, if you can annex the land for me from the other zamindar, I will give a percentage of my land to you. And that's why you will find these akharas used to have huge land property. In hundreds of years, they acquired that way. Lot of land. But there was no work. They had lot of land, lot of property, but they were not doing any such philanthropic activity. When Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, she noticed that so much land is of no use. She declared that unless you do all these philanthropic activities, it will all be made the government's property. It will be public property. And it's very interesting. They asked for some 10 years time. At that time, Ananda Mahima was very influential. She was one of the great sadhikas. Indira Gandhi used to venerate her very much. Through Ananda Mahima, the Sadhu Samaj requested Indira Gandhi, please give us some time. We will start some philanthropic activities. And now if you go to Kankar Rishikesh, all the organizations have started running philanthropic activities, if not following the ideal of Swamiji, at least because of the rules of the government. They have to do. The things have changed. So now we don't understand that when we say that Swami Vivekananda has redefined the monastic ideals. It has happened so silently. Swami Vivekananda used to say that this movement will be like the falling of a dew. When Sister Nivedita wanted some advertisement that we are doing such a great work, let the people know. Swami Vivekananda shouted at her, till know this glamour of this external world. We have to work silently. He used to say that all the great work of the world is done silently. To see the God's work. The air which we breathe, do we pay tax for it? The water which we drink, do we pay tax for it? It's all God's gift given free, unnoticed. You don't even notice it. It is given just to you free of thing. The real service should be like that. It should permeate the society silently, just like the dew drop. When it has fallen, nobody knows, and the ground has been soaked. So it should be like the fall of the dew drop. So sometimes we don't notice the great contribution of this Swami Vivekananda's redefining of the monastic ideals. It's a great contribution, but it is not something new. As we were saying again and again, it was in our tradition. If you go and study our scriptures, everywhere, even in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, the one who neglecting the so-called, the common masses, just goes on worshipping the Lord in the image, it is just like doing Homa in ash. You know that when the Homa you are doing, when you do the Havan, we lit the fire, and on the fire we offer the oblation. But if the fire gets somehow extinguished, on what you will be offering the oblation? On the ash. That's of no use. Oblation is made to enkindle the fire. If the fire has gone off, you will be just wasting the oblation in the ash itself. In the Bhagavatam they give that analogy. They say that trying to worship God in the image without taking care of the so-called your fellow beings is just like pouring an oblation in the ash. So it's mentioned in our scriptures. We find everywhere, it's there, but somehow we forgot. We thought that this world is in the domain of Maya. We have to get God, we have to forget it. We just have to be otherworldly. And that's not only in the sadhu samaj, even in the society. You will find there was a tremendous degradation. In India, the villages were just like the museum of 1,000 years back. No development, no progress. Why? Things have changed now. Even 100 years back, it used to be like that. But for 1,000 years, there's no change. Why? Because after all, this life, somehow we have to sustain our entire endeavor just to get moksha. That's the only goal of life. So Swami Vivekananda was the first to say that no, Abhyuda is also very important. So today, this is the thing which we will try to understand, that how Swami Vivekananda redefined this idea of monasticism. So Swami Vivekananda created this monastic order. Very interesting. When Swami Vivekananda was in the West, he saw, and that time he's already the thing which have started seeing, that huge church buildings are there, but the people's attendance is very few. And then Swami started feeling, what a waste of money. Such a tremendous resource has been put in this, having this infrastructure, but at last, how many people are getting benefited? Very few. So in the West, when Swami Vivekananda already started thinking of forming an organization, the first thought came, I won't form an organization. Why? The first thought came, I won't be forming any organization. Why? Because it is a very low efficiency engine. It takes a lot of fuel, but gives very little output. It takes a lot of fuel. It's the society which is, after all, sustaining them, but what's the output they are giving? Very few. They're very less. It's a very low efficient engine. And then the second thought came. It's a low efficient engine, but that's the only way to keep an idea enkindled, which the society needs with the passage of time. Without these ideas, if this organization is not there, we forget the wonderful life and teachings of Ramakrishna. There may be a stray few individuals who may be practicing, but that doesn't entail in the preservation of the ideal. So for the preservation of the ideal, you need an organization. After Buddha, we find the Swami Vivekananda has formed an organization of the young, well-educated, young, these novices are joining. It happened only after Buddha. But in our scripture it is mentioned that who should be a monk? Ashishta, Balishta, Dradishta. That some idea crept in, from where it came we don't know, that those who are handicapped, those who are mentally and physically handicapped or old, already has gone through the 3 stages of life, he is in no way going to contribute to the society, they may go for sannyas. It is just, that's the idea which crept in, and that we find even in the traditional sadhu samaj, we find it is only the old. After living a householder's life, in the old age they renounce and go and live there. Most of the sadhus are like that. But here he formed an organization where he told that yes, in our scriptures it is mentioned that you can go after the 3 stages. These 3 stages means this brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha. the state of the student, then a householder, and then as a retiree. After that you can go for sannyas. It's in the scripture. But that's not the only injunction. There is another injunction. What is that? Yat ahareva virajet, tat ahareva prabrajet. The moment the renunciation dawns in your heart, don't think of pros and cons. Just leave your house. Why? Because opportunity knocks only once. Once you miss it, when it will come, no one knows. That someone was sitting in his room, house, and someone knocked in the door. There was two knocks, knock, knock. So the one who was sitting inside, he asked, who is it? From outside the voice came, opportunity. He said, no, it cannot be. Because the opportunity knocks only once. So there was two knocks. So it knocks only once. So it comes, when it comes, because why I'm saying, you will find many are there. I have seen a married person coming to ashram and say, fed up with family life, I want to be a monk. But there is no more chance, that you are already entangled with so much of responsibilities. Now, how can you really think? You cannot. If you really somehow just don't ignore those responsibilities and become a monk, it proves you are a brute. You don't have any heart. You have already got entangled with the responsibilities, no chance. But if somehow it so happened that before your marriage, that somehow that renunciation dawned, and that's the scripture is saying, don't wait for the pros and cons. Am I capable? Am I really skilled for that? Will this life really prove something fruitful for me? Don't think. Simply jump. Why? You don't know again when this opportunity will come. So, yat ahareva viraj. The moment that comes, tat ahareva prabhyate. Live out. Grihatva vanadva. Whether you are in household or you in this forest, wherever you may be, live out. Because this opportunity you don't know when it comes. So that's why we find there is the question of the young one to become the monk. And that's what should be the characteristics? Ashishta. He should be a man of integrity. Shishta means, or shishtachar. He is a man of integrity. He is a moral person. Valishta, strong, dhrishta. He is integrated in his conduct. So that's the type of person we need as sannyasis. And that's we find in the Ramakrishna order. It's only the young ones who are not married, who are below the age of 30, they can join. So it's something new thing we start finding out. And that's the one they are joining. Why? Again, to preserve and practice the Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. So that anyone can practice, but to really that organization will help in preserving and practicing this teaching. And this is a new band of sannyasis we find. The young ones, well educated, from good family. Good family is a very important thing. Sadhus can come only from good family. Because only in good family renunciation is practiced. If the father is an addict, what happens? There is no question of renunciation. He is bound to give importance to his own obsessions. He cannot think of renouncing his obsessions for the welfare of others. He cannot give the priority to others. Good family means what? Where I am ready to sacrifice my interest, that becomes subordinate for the family members. That only speaks of a good family. So you will find renunciation starts in a good family. So all the good sadhus unless there is a good family, there cannot be good sadhus. Because the first training of renunciation happens within the family. The mother teaches renunciation, how much sacrifice they have to go through. The father teaches there's renunciation, how much sacrifice. That's the training. So such persons from the good family, they should come, young ones, and this organization should be formed, so these ideas can be preserved. So now we will just go in short that what are the main tenets of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings that redefine the monasticism as has been founded by Swami Vivekananda. First, as we were saying, is the harmony of the religions. Now this harmony speaks of two types of harmony. One is harmony within and another is harmony without. Harmony within, what it speaks of? So as a human being, we have many faculties. We have many faculties, like we have the intellect. We have the power of discrimination. What is good, what is bad. What is preferable, what is pleasurable. We always take the pleasurable to be preferable. really find out what is pleasurable and not get deluded by the pleasurable. That's discrimination. So the power of discrimination, the power of concentration, the power to relate to others through emotion, and the power of work, ingenuity. These are the human faculties which we have. In broadly classified, these are the faculties we have. Now, generally, we all have one of the faculties as predominant. The others are not that dominant characters of a predominant characters of our life. Nowadays, they speak of signature strengths in psychology. That we have many positive traits. Some are your signature. Some of the traits are your signature. So those are the positive qualities which you have. But Sri Ramakrishna placed before us a wonderful idea. There's so many faculties you have, why not use all of them? So that you can create a samanvaya, a harmony within yourself, and that will help you to accelerate your journey. He used to give a wonderful example. What's the example? Just a goldsmith, when in the olden days when he used to smelt the gold, how he will smelt the gold? He will be using a pipe to blow on the fire. In the hand he is having some fan. In the leg he is having some these paddles with which another bellow is there to fan on the fire. So all these faculties, he is using his mouth, his hands, his feet to get the optimum temperature to smelt the gold. He has to use all the faculties. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying, why not use all the faculties so that you can accelerate your progress in the spiritual journey? Why be aghe? That is the word, that I don't want to be just one-sided. He used to say a very nice thing. A flute has so many holes. If you just close all the holes with the finger and keep one open and just blow, will you get music? No. It will be a noise, just a monotone noise you will get. To get the real music, you have to know the art of using all the holes. Your fingers have to know the art of using all the holes. So you have so many faculties. Why just create noise through you by being just that aghe, means just having that monotone? You use all the faculties and flourish as a being with all your faculties developed. So that's the idea Sri Ramakrishna came before us. Swami Vivekananda felt for Ramakrishna he is avatar. In his life he has demonstrated. But for us, we may find it is difficult. That as we have certain signature strengths, others we cannot harmonize. So Swami Vivekananda kept a very nice ideal for us. He told that if not individually, this Sangha, this organization should represent the organic whole of Sri Ramakrishna. Where if not individually, at least as a collection, as a collective whole, someone may be more meditative, someone may be more active, with prone to action, someone may be more discriminative. So let all have the freedom to flourish as per their faculty, so that the organization as a whole can represent the body of Ramakrishna, where we find the samanvaya of all those practices happening there. This is a very interesting thing. So here's an organization where we have the freedom. We have the freedom to practice our towards our goal in the way I like. No one is there to say that this is the only ideology we have to follow. That sometimes you will find within an organization there are some strict do's and don'ts. In the Ramakrishna order, that's a very wonderful thing. If I am a bhakta, you may find, YouTube, many are giving lectures on Advaita Vedanta. Many have a feeling that Ramakrishna mission follows the Advaita Vedanta. It's not true. There are Swamis who are purely devotional. And there is no harm in it. They can practice the devotion. Because we know that through all the paths you can reach the same goal. So there is no harm in whatever way you are approaching the goal. We have that freedom to practice in our own way. Some are very active. Karma Yoga is for them. Even within our order, we have seen some Swamis. He is a purely Karma Yogi, but very highly elevated Swami. As per the spiritual evolution is concerned, highly evolved. And spiritual evolution is, the benchmark of it is how selfless you have become. It's not just some, you close your eyes and get some vision and that speaks of your spiritual evolution. Many will be coming and say, I got such vision. It has nothing to do with our spiritual life unless that is reflected through our life. What that vision has it changed you? Maybe you close your eyes and you see some celestial shining being. Has it changed your life? Has it overhauled your personality? If it hasn't done that, what's the use of that vision? It has nothing to do with my spiritual life because nothing has been internalized. So this internalization is the main thing. Swami Sri Ramakrishna used to say a very nice thing when someone used to ask him, when shall I be free? His answer used to be that not that you have to see God, nothing. His one line answer, when I, this I within the inverted commas, when I cease to be, Ami mukto hobo kobe, Ami jabe jobe. As simple as that. And we do find this, there are so many exalted Swamis that utterly selfless, always ready to relate through empathy, through compassion. And when you really become selfless, your character has been molded. Nothing you do for your own. It is all there for others. So such exalted Swamis we find through who are purely karma yogi or they are devotional or very discriminative, it doesn't matter. You have to reach the goal. As Swami used to say, a tree is known by its fruit. This tree is known by its fruit. What fruit you have produced? If you have a really good fruit, that tree is good. So what fruit you are producing? That's the important thing. And through all the paths, you can of course have that ultimate, you can reach that ultimate goal. So we should not have that idea of holier than thou attitude, that I am holier than thou. That's the worst thing in spiritual life. That speaks of dogmatism. This word dogmatism, from where it came? Dogmatism has something to do with dog, canine instinct. But you know what, it's not something just we are abusing. The reason is there. Swami Vivekananda in one place is saying a very nice thing. What he's saying? That the fanatics are even worse. He has used the words very politely. If he just said then dog, it would be something very abusive. What he says? The fanaticism is worse than the canine instinct. Canine instinct, you can understand. Why? Then he says, a dog recognizes its master in whatever dress you may come. You may come in whatever dress, your dog will recognize you. But the fanatics don't recognize their master when they change their dress. The moment the dress is changed, they don't recognize. So that's why he's saying he's even worse than so-called. The dogmatism words came from there. That we sometimes become so dogmatic that we don't recognize the one who has changed his dress. So here we find that wonderful harmony he's speaking of. That harmony should be without also. That all are trying to reach that ultimate goal. All are trying to reach. As per their temperament, as per their nationality, religion, culture, everything, that we have been born in a particular religion, particular nationality. And from our childhood we have acquired certain characteristics even without our knowing. You cannot simply uproot a tree and just plant it somewhere else. It has already grown its root. It has to grow as per the nourishment it is getting from its soil. I cannot change its nature. So as per the nationality, as per the religion, as per the culture, as per the environment, we may have various traits. It's all okay. Accept them all. And if I'm really trying to transcend the limitations of the human bondage and trying to find out the spiritual dimension within me, well and good. All those varieties are okay. Signature is the variety of, variety is the signature of God, the variety. For human beings it is very monotonous. Whatever we create is very monotonous. Just if I give you a bunch of pen made by a particular brand company immediately and then immediately I collect and I say, you please pick up the pen which I just now I gave you. Can you pick up? Impossible, because they all are lookalikes. But see the God's creation, wonderful. In human creation speaks of uniformity. In God's creation it's wonderful. No two human, even the two twins, identical twins, will have different thumb impression. No two humans have the same thumb impression. From your thumb impression you are different. What to speak of your mind, your thoughts. Swami Vivekananda used to say, I will be the happiest person the day each and every person has his own religion. Because we can never have the same religion. I have my own way of relating to the divine in my own way. That's my religion. So this going beyond the convention. So nowadays we hear the word that if you ask, are you religious? You will say, no, I am spiritual but not religious. This is a very common term used nowadays. Know it for certain. This has started from Swami Vivekananda. Before that you will not find this idea. He is speaking that whatever is your trait, with that go and reach the goal. Signature of God is the variety. You have your own uniqueness. That's quite okay. With that you approach the goal. And Sri Ramakrishna is saying that Swami Vivekananda is saying Sri Ramakrishna was so unique. Can you ever show me another person who has tried to practice all the religions in his life and go to the ultimate goal by realizing the divinity through all the practices? You won't find. So he was a glutton, spiritually glutton. You know that tremendous gluttony he had for this spiritual realization. That was a uniqueness. So in the order, in Ramakrishna order also, you all should be unique. That he is using the word maulik. All of you should be unique. You need not have to repeat others. So through all these traits, you can practice the harmony, which is speaking of that one of the traits of the Ramakrishna order, which he is establishing as a pillar. The next is the Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva. This is a very interesting thing. You will find towards the entire work of Swami, has a vast literature, but what he has done, of course, by sitting on the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, he learned that. You will find almost diametrically opposite ideals. He is bringing and making a fusion, jugalbandi of it. Shiva and Jiva, just opposite. Shiva is the one who is free, Jiva is bound. Pash Baddha Jiv, Pash Mukta Shiv. These are two diametrically opposite ideas. He is bringing together how Shiva is there in the Jiva. Jiva is deluded, he doesn't know what it is actually, is essentially Shiva. So serve the Shiva in the Jiva. So this, how it helps? Then the next two fusion comes, Tyaga and Seva. Tyaga means renounce everything, go to the forest and close your eyes and go deep in meditation to realize the ultimate reality. And Seva speaks of to be with the world, to be interacting with the world, to be interacting with the society. He is saying, let Tyaga and Seva be the twin ideals for you. It's a wonderful thing. How can this be? It is all diametrically opposite. It's possible only when you see the Shiva in the Jiva. Then it's possible. Because when I close my eyes, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if God is all pervading, then how can you say when you close your eyes, then God is, and when you open your eyes, the God is not there? Chok bujlei tini achen, chok khulle tini nahi. He's everywhere. So, if He is everywhere, so when you are closing your eyes and meditating, He is there. When your eyes are open, then also He is there. If you cannot see them, then your religion becomes, what you say, compartmentalized. That when I meditate, then I am spiritual. When I am working, I am no more spiritual. Your spirituality then becomes part-time affair. So to make it 24/7, I am bound to see the God in each and every being. And then Tyaga and Seva can be unified. Just in the family, the father is sacrificing so much of his own small petty want for the entire family. Tyaga, Seva. Mother is doing that. Father is doing that. In the society, that's the ideal with which if we work, everything becomes worship. When the Tyaga and Seva can be brought together, can be fusioned together, only when you can see the Shiva, the Lord in each and every being. And then, after speaking of Tyaga Seva, very interesting, then he's speaking of fusion of science and Vedanta. That religion and spirituality are always appears to be diametrically opposite. And he's speaking of fusion of that too. Science and Vedanta. Very interesting. In the West, he saw that with the scientific discoveries, the pillars of religions were getting shattered. And that time he's proclaiming that Vedanta is such a religion where with the truth, the more the spiritual, the more the scientific truth gets established, the more the Vedanta will shine forth. Its superstitions will fall off, the essence of it will shine forth. It's not only in Vedanta, in all the religion. The superstitions, the wrong practices will fall off. The essence will shine forth. We shouldn't be afraid of that science. And not only that, science has a great role to play in Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva. How? Very interesting. When I was in India, very interesting thing, I went to some school. It was Swami Vivekananda's statue unveiling. They have installed a statue of Swami Vivekananda in that school, and they were unveiling that statue. For that, there was some small program, and many guests were invited. I was one of the guests, and one of the diplomats, he was a administrative, he has passed the WBCS, he was the SD or something. And most probably he had the idea, he have understood everything of this Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Vivekananda statue is unveiled. In that he is supposed to give lecture. He is saying, Swami Vivekananda is a great person, but I am not sure how much he is needed in the present time. Why? I understood that other government ministers were there, he wanted to flatter them. How he was flattering them? That now our state is quite prospering. There is no need to give anyone alms. People are all self-reliant. Economy is well flourished. So to whom we will serve? There is no one to serve. So the Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva is of no use nowadays. And luckily I got the chance to speak after him, and then I told that it's a very wrong way of understanding. See, Swami Vivekananda actually told the way he spoke of seva, it is very, very far-reaching. It's not just giving alms to the poor. It's not just that. Or during during some natural calamity, doing some relief work. It's not only that. Then what actual real service is? In a very simple way you will understand that if someone is hungry, if you feed him, you satiate his hunger just for one meal. But if you teach him agriculture, his hunger is gone forever, isn't it? To make man stand on his own feet is the real service. I still remember in Calcutta there is a Al-Amin Mission, a Muslim organization. They also have started a lot of educational institutions where the poor students, the Muslim students as well as the others, they can study there. They provide all scholarships, and from that Al-Amin missions we are really getting good students. They're really doing very well. It is almost working in the line of Ramakrishna mission. This Ramakrishna mission, this Al-Amin mission. I just coincidentally met the secretary, the founder secretary of the Al-Amin mission in one of the functions, and he told, my inspiration is one of your Swamis. So I was a bit surprised. So what? So many of you know his name, Swami Lokeshwarananda in Gold Park. See how these ideas in the seed form spreads, this is wonderful. So he said that his founder, I forget his name, he's saying that Al-Amin Mission's founder, he as a young boy used to go to Gold Park, there's a huge library there. He became the member of that library to have all the books there. He used to go, he used to sit there and study the books there. And as he used to visit regularly, he came in touch with Lokeshwarananda. And now and then, whenever he used to get some scope, he will just chit-chat with him. And one day, Lokeshwarananda ji, that time, he visited him during the month of Ramzan. So Lokeshwarananda ji most probably offered him some tea. He told, no, it's the month of Ramzan, we are supposed to fast from morning to end. And then Lokeshwarananda ji asked him that what all you do at the end of Ramzan, we have this our Eid. On the Eid there is a practice called zakat, that those who are rich, a small portion of their wealth they save It's in the Quran, mentioned in the Quran. But why they save it? They save it so that they can serve the poor, and this service is done mainly on the day of the Eid, the Zakat. And they offer the poor, what they offer? The food and clothing. And then after hearing that vocationally, they tell that you collect so much of money and you just spend it for your food and clothing. Well, yeah, we do that. Well, why not you start some educational institution? He told us, this young person, Muslim boy, he told us a good idea. He went to the Maulavis and they told no. In the Quran, it's specifically mentioned. It has to be for the clothing and for the food and clothing. So how can we spend on education? So he went back, came back and again related to Lokeshwarananda. He told, see, if you spend in education, you will be spending on food and clothing only. With education, they will be sustaining themselves, and at last what they will do? They will buy their own clothes, they will buy their own food. So in the long term, you are providing them food and clothing only. This is the idea which really created a deep impression in his mind, and from that idea he got the inspiration, and the Al-Amin mission is based on that idea. You just see how the ideas spread, the entire Al-Amin mission. So, Seva in the long term actually speaks of making man stand on its own feet. And there the science do play a great role. And that's why Swamiji is saying that if you have to serve, don't just forget about the science, the technology, all the development, the abhyudaya is required through which you can serve in a better way. Many of you may not be knowing. Nowadays we hear of this butterfly effect, that a butterfly somewhere flirts, just waves its wings, and a tsunami is created somewhere. That the ripple of that, the movement of the wings of the butterfly creates tsunami somewhere. So this butterfly effect. In Swamiji's life, there are so many butterfly effects. You have heard of Jamshedji Tata. He made Jamshedji Tata when he was going to the West in the ship he made there. At that time, he was doing just import-export this business, nothing else. He used to bring something from the foreign countries, sell here. He told, by that, of course, if you are benefited, you become rich, but how it is helping the society? Why not start some educational institution where our own people, we need not have to send the raw materials from our country, it goes to, that we were sending the cotton to UK, from there the cloths were all, the cloth came from there and again it was sold in India. So why? That if you have the technology, you need not have to send it to the foreign country. You can sustain yourself. Jamshedji Tata got the idea from Swami Vivekananda. In their manifesto it is mentioned, it is not just we are saying. In Tata, if you go to this Tata Institute of Science, they have written there the inspiration, how Jamshedji Tata got that idea to make man stand on his own feet. So the seva comes from there, the real seva. It's not just giving alms to the poor. That's the idea of, again, see, these two opposite ideas, science and Vedanta. He's saying to create a fusion, a jugalbandi. And then, from that will come the fusion of nationalism and internationalism. Again, these are diametrically opposite things. Generally, nationalism is antagonistic to internationalism. You will find that there is a term called chauvinistic nationalism. Means very, very narrow type of nationalism. You know from where this word chauvinistic came? It came from a soldier, French soldier, Nicolas Chauvin. That when many were asking whether colonializing is, in those days colonialism was there, this colonialism is, can you justify it? So this Nicolas Chauvin said, whatever is good for your country, it is bringing wealth for your country. Whatever is good for your country is good. So from that the term chauvinistic nationalism came, very narrow type of nationalism. So generally nationalism speaks of my nation's welfare, maybe at the cost of others. Swami Vivekananda is bringing these two ideals, nationalism and internationalism, together. How? Let's see if as an Indian we can synthesize Vedanta and science, then what will happen? Science will help us to get the bare sustenance. To sustain our physical needs will be fulfilled by that. But as a human being, we can never be satisfied with our physical sustenance. Once my physical sustenance is fulfilled, I become a psycho. All sorts of thoughts will come to your mind, what to do with the life, and with depression. You will find the more an affluent society, the more psychological issues are there. Because with affluence, when a hunter every day has to go out, he has no time to just stay with his thoughts, he has no time. Every day he is going out, he is going and hunting, coming back, again he has to think next day, he has to sustain himself. So he is well engaged. So there is no question of having any psychological issues. But the more a society becomes affluent, your physical needs has been taken care of. Now the mind comes to picture. What will you do? Swamiji says that physical needs just speaks of the 10% of our needs. 90% is in the mind. Throughout the day, with all your affluence, how much time you spend in just with your physical needs? I'm spending the time with my mind only. How you take care of that? So Swamiji is saying that with science, you get the bare necessity. In those days, in Swamiji's time, socialism has just started evolving, those ideas. When someone asked Swamiji, what's your idea about the socialism? He immediately, there's a famous quotation of Swamiji, I am a socialist. Many will be just giving a full stop there, but it's not a full stop there, it's just a phrase, I am a socialist. The next phrase is very important, because half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. With all these ideas of socialism, you get the physical needs are fulfilled. That is half a loaf. You are now just half fed. What will you do with your mind? Now you will start thinking of the meaning of life, purpose of life, what to do with life. There the religion, there the Vedanta comes into picture. So this, the fusion, unless the two are fusion, you can never think of a prosperous society. You, with all your physical needs fulfilled, you will become a mental wreck. So this is the ideal, this idea of science and Veda has to be fusion. With this, we have to create a model which has to be produced to the world. The more the world becomes global, the more the boundaries fall off, the more we interact with each other. This culture will start diffusing. And that's the nationalism he's speaking of, which is not antagonistic to internationalism, no. That I prosper as a nation to become a landmark, to become an example for others to follow the way, if we have to really come out of the crisis through which we are going at present. So nationalism and internationalism. And that at last speaks of just see so many opposite ideas. Throughout his lectures you will find, throughout his talks, he's bringing together. And in the Ramakrishna logo, the last that two things comes together. Atmana mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. Your own liberation, not at the cost of jagat hit. Jagat hitaya cha. Where as you become more and more evolved, you take the world along with you. It's not that the world is left over. Jagat hitaya cha. These two goes together. And that's the thing, a wonderful thing. A monastic organization which previously had the idea is otherworldly. They don't interact with the society, they are to be venerated, revered, but you cannot just be with them. They cannot interact with them. You cannot communicate with them. That gap has fallen off. There is no idea of holier than thou attitude. That we all are co-passengers, Swamiji is saying, in our journey towards the ultimate goal of spirituality. To attain the spiritual dimension of our being is the ultimate goal. We are all in that journey. Let us all be the co-travelers. We are all co-travelers are there. And that's the idea which doesn't speak of high and low. So whether you are a monk with a monastic girl or you are a householder, you are all co-passengers. And that's the wonderful idea where he's creating a wonderful family with the Ramakrishna order as a nodal point across which, around which all the householders all come and just gather together to form a huge family. It's not just a small family, nuclear family. It's a huge family, the family of Ramakrishna, which speaks of this Atmana Moksha Jagat Hita. And that's the wonderful legacy he has created. The more the days pass, the more we will realize what a great contribution this Ramakrishna Vivekananda has kept in front of this entire global culture. With one just small Sri Ramakrishna's remark, I will end today's discussion. One day Sri Ramakrishna was sitting by the side of the Ganges in Dakshineshwar. And just a steamer, a launch was passing in front of them. And after it went a long distance, then suddenly the person who was sitting along with Ramakrishna, they noticed that the water is splashing on the bank. This water is splashing. Then Ramakrishna, he told, you see that when the steamer was just in front of us, the Ganga was quiet. It appeared to be quiet. It's only when it has gone a long distance we can see the splashing. And he says that great souls are like this. When they are near you, they have already created the ripple. That's the butterfly effect. They have created the ripple. You are not aware of it. The ripple is yet to become a wave and come to the bank and splash. It is yet to come. You can only realize what a wave it has created only when it has got a long distance. The longer distance it goes, the more the splash. So that's the thing we have to realize, we will be realizing more and more, that what a ripple he has created, which is going to splash the human civilization, not to destroy it, but to integrate it and give us fulfillment. So with this, I would like to stop our discussion. Thank you all. Namaskar. Now we will just have a small offering, followed by followed by this Pushpanjali, and then this.
Can you ask me a question or no?
Yeah, if short, I have this.